My grandmother was dying, and all she wanted before she left this world was to see me get married. I begged my girlfriend, just pretend for a little while, just until Grandma was gone. But she brushed me off without hesitation, said she was busy celebrating her stepbrother's birthday. That was it. No discussion. A compromise. A week later, I posted a photo of a marriage certificate on Instagram. Friends flooded the comments with congratulations. Everyone wanted to know when the reception was, and that's when she finally called. Her voice, cold and sharp after months of silence, cut through the line. Have you no shame? What's the point of forcing my hand like this? I laughed. The wedding's real. But who said it was with? You, the doctor, had already warned us Grandma had only days left. Someone needed to stay with her around the clock. He didn't even have to say it directly. We all knew what it meant. I held her hand so thin and dry. It felt like paper and, whispered Grandma. I was trying to absorb some warmth from her, even as her body grew colder. She smiled at me, eyes still filled with that soft, unconditional love. It's all right, honey, she said gently. People get old, they die. It's part of life. I've had a good run. My children, my grandchildren, you've all been so good to me. I'm content. But I wasn't. I buried my face in the stiff hospital sheets beside her, tears soaking through. The thought of losing her, my one constant, the woman who'd always made me feel safe, was unbearable. Leo, she said softly, like she was afraid to ask, how are things with you and your young lady? I remembered the last time she'd brought up my girlfriend Chloe. She had suggested I bring her home to meet the family. When I mentioned it to Chloe, she had barely looked up from her phone. I'm busy, she said. Later, when Grandma asked again, I snapped. She's a busy person, okay? When would she even have time to come visit us? Grandma had blinked, surprised, then offered me a gentle smile. Did you two have a fight? Her kindness hit me like a punch to the chest. Why did I always lash out at the ones who loved me the most? I apologized immediately, and of course she forgave me. She always did. But after that, she never brought up Chloe again. Now, watching her in that hospital bed so calm, so accepting, I was drowning in regret. I was just asking, Leo, she said quietly, seeing the guilt on my face. I'm not trying to meddle. If you're happy, that's what matters. She tried to act like it didn't hurt, but I knew it did. She cared. She always cared. Grandma came from a small Midwestern town, never went beyond high school, lived in the same county her whole life. To her, the mark of a good man was simple. Find someone you love, get married, have kids, build a home. I'd tried to show her the world had changed, that people didn't want the same things anymore. I've got a good job, a degree. I can take care of myself, I told her once. I've got options. She beamed with pride. Of course you do. It's my Leo. So smart, so successful. She'd always add, you'll find someone just as brilliant to share your life with. Two amazing people can build a beautiful life together. Oh, just smile, knowing nothing would ever change her old-fashioned beliefs. In her heart, once a man reached a certain age, he was supposed to settle down. From the day I graduated, she started gently nudging me, trying to set me up with daughters of church friends, always hopeful. When I finally told her I had a girlfriend, she lit up with joy. She wanted so badly to meet her. But after that one moment I lost my temper, she never brought it up again. Years went by. My parents started hinting it was time to think about marriage. But Grandma stayed quiet. Not because she didn't care, because she cared too much. She didn't want to pressure me. She didn't want to be a burden. Happy now, lying there in that hospital bed, she kept insisting she had no regrets, that she was ready to go, at peace. But the flicker of longing in her eyes said otherwise, and I remembered something she'd told me long ago, with that same kind voice. I'm not greedy. If I could just see my Leo get married, could die the next minute, completely content. Grandma hadn't said something like that in years, not because the feeling had faded, but because she didn't want to burden me. She knew I was already stretched thin. But how could I let her die with that one wish left unfulfilled? That evening, Mom came to the hospital with a thermos of homemade soup. After helping Grandma eat, she gently touched my shoulder and said, "Go home for a bit. Eat something proper. Try to sleep. The dark circles under your eyes. They're getting worse. Your dad will stay tonight. We'll call if anything changes." Outside, I stepped into the night air and tried to breathe. I called Chloe. No answer. Then I called her assistant, who casually said she had left the office hours ago. I opened Instagram. First post in my feed was from Ryan, a birthday photo. Him and Chloe, his arm around her, her smile wide. The caption read, "Another year. And you're still right here by my side. The best, of course." It was Ryan's birthday. I zoomed in. Cake, flowers, balloons, and behind them, the distinct gold logo of a private club on the Gold Coast, Chloe's favorite place. I didn't think I just drove. My mind was a storm. I didn't know how this would go, only that I had to try. I arrived and walked into the club. My heart was pounding as I found the private room she always booked. I knocked. "Come in," someone called. I pushed the door open. The long table was glowing with candles and flowers. Ryan stood in the center, smiling in a crisp designer suit, ready to cut his cake. Everyone turned as I stepped in. And there, she was Chloe, standing at his side, her arm around him. Her smile vanished the moment she saw me. "What are you doing here?" she asked, clearly irritated. Ryan gently patted her arm. "Chloe, come on, be nice. How can you talk to Leo like that?" Then he turned to me. "My bad, man, should have invited you. Chloe said you had a family emergency, figured you wouldn't make it." He led me closer and said, half joking, "Be sweeter to your boyfriend. You're gonna scare him off." Chloe didn't even respond, wouldn't look at me. I took a breath. "Can we talk outside for a second? I need to ask you something."
What?
"Whatever." "It is. Say it here," she replied flatly.
What?
Everyone here's a friend. The tension was instant. My presence had shattered the mood. I could feel her discomfort thick in the air. People avoided eye contact, but I knew they were watching. "Chloe," I said, keeping my voice calm, "marry me." She blinked, as if she hadn't heard me right. Then her face twisted. "What did you just say?" "Let's get married," I repeated. "Tomorrow?" The room fell silent. She scoffed. "Leo, it's not April Fool's." Ryan forced a chuckle. "Dude, are you drunk?" "I'm sober," I said firmly. "This is real." Ryan's smile dropped. "It's my birthday, man. I don't bring drama into this." Whispers rippled across the room. Did he just propose to Chloe? Does he really think he can marry into the Sterling family? Chloe's just toying with him. It's delusional. His dad runs a small security firm. That's it. Their judgment hit like a wall. But Chloe's voice hurt the most. "What is wrong with you?" she hissed. "If you're having a meltdown, get the hell out." I swallowed the sting of humiliation. I had asked to speak in private. She chose to make it public. "If this stupid stunt is all you came to say," she snapped, "then no, you can leave." My hands clenched so tight I felt my nails dig into my palms. "Chloe, I'm not trying to pressure you, my grandmother. She only has a few days left. I just don't want her to die with regrets. I want her to see me married before she goes." She stared at me like I was insane. Her voice sliced straight through me. "Are you even hearing yourself?" She didn't believe me. None of them did. Using a dying relative to force a proposal. That's a new low. If that worked, Chloe would have been married a dozen times by now. My voice broke. "Chloe, I'm telling the truth. You can check my..." "Grandma's had enough," she snapped, cutting me off. Her tone was final, cold. "I don't have time for your act," she said. "I told you already, I don't believe in marriage. And you said you were okay with that? You going back on your word now? So you won't marry me?" I asked quietly. "That's your final answer?" "Yes," no hesitation. I stood there for a moment. Then I nodded slowly. "Okay," I whispered. "I understand." And I turned and walked out. Outside, the city was still alive, but I wasn't. I drifted down the sidewalk like a ghost. Everything around me a dull blur. The colors of the world had dimmed. I couldn't feel anything anymore, except the slow, creeping cold of a heart that was breaking. And then my phone rang. I answered the phone without thinking. My hands were cold, my heart even colder. Chloe's voice came through the speaker still. Sharp, still commanding. "Leo, I know this is all just because you're jealous of Ryan. That stunt tonight. It's pathetic. But Ryan's a good person. He said he's willing to let it go. If you come back and apologize." I hung up. A cold raindrop landed on my cheek. I looked up. It had started to rain. My legs gave out, as if they no longer belonged to me. I sank to the pavement, letting the rain soak through my clothes and numb my skin. I couldn't feel anything anymore, just the dull ache of something breaking inside. Then dash. Suddenly the rain stopped, at least above me. I looked up. A black umbrella hovered over my head. I followed the hand holding it up the sleeve to the shoulder, then to the face. It was beautiful. "Thanks," I mumbled, sniffling. "Really, I'm fine. You should go." But she didn't move. She just smiled. A soft, quiet smile like ripples spreading across still water. Something about her felt strangely familiar. "I finally get to see little Leo Morgan cry," she said. That voice, I frowned, staring at her face again. There was something about the curve of her features. Something old, almost buried. Then suddenly memories began rushing back. A wave crashing over me. I gasped. "You're Jet." She laughed softly. "You haven't forgotten me, Leo. I'm glad, Avachin," I whispered. My childhood best friend here. After all these years, it was like time folded in on itself. And for a moment, everything else Chloe, the heartbreak, the storm just disappeared. I wiped the rain from my face and stood. "Come on," I said. "I owe you dinner. We have way too much to catch up on." When I was a kid, my parents were always buried in business. Too busy to raise a child, so they sent me to live with Grandma in her little town. That's where I met Ava. We were seatmates in first grade. She was always quiet, frowning, surrounded by a wall no one dared to cross. I used to hear her stomach growl during class, but I never had the courage to ask why. Later, I asked Grandma. She sighed. Poor thing. Her father passed away, and her mother ran off with another man. She's been bounced from one relative, too. Another never gets enough to eat, never feels like she belongs. She pressed a few extra dollars into my palm. "From now on, you pack a little extra," share with her. So I started offering snacks, pretzels, chips, fruit rolls, telling her I was too full and needed help finishing them. She always scowled and refused. One day I took it up a notch. Right in front of her, I tossed 2 perfectly good dinner rolls into the trash. She lunged for the bin, furious, snatching them back out. "How dare you waste food?" she snapped, like I'd just committed some unforgivable crime. I shrugged. "I can't eat it all. It'll go bad." "Are you sure you can't?" "Eat it, positive?" I said. "My grandma packs me mountains of food every day. Not a pig. I can't finish it all." "So, you weren't offering me food because you pitied me?" "Of course not," said, eyes wide with conviction. Her shoulders relaxed. "Okay," she said slowly. "Then from now on, you can give me whatever you can't finish. But no more throwing it away." She fixed me with a serious stare. "Food is precious. Don't waste it, deal?" I grinned. My plan had worked. From that day on, I became her unofficial food supplier and her closest friend. We told each other everything. She had a gift for folding paper airplanes of every kind. So I started calling her Jet, after she heard my grandma call me by my first name. She started calling me Leo. She told me about her screeching aunt and her uncle, who was 2. Big'd ever catch her when she ran off after mischief. I told her about my parents, how they were too busy to call, and when they did, the conversation never lasted more than 5 minutes. She was brilliantest every test. I was terrible at math, but she would sit with me patiently and explain everything until it clicked. Thanks to her, my math grades soared. I made it into the top 3 in class. But first place? Always Ava. Then came the end of 6th grade, and my parents told me I was moving back to the city for middle school. I cried. For days, not just because I'd miss her, but because I worried. Without me there, who would make sure Ava got to eat? Soon, though, My fears eased. Ava's uncle, her father's younger brother, had come back. He'd left for Hong Kong years ago to chase a better life, and eventually lost all contact. The family assumed he was gone for good, maybe even dead. But as it turned out, he'd survived a terrible accident, and saving someone important during it, he'd found a new path. That person took him under his wing. The accident had left him unable to have children of his own, and when he returned to see Ava's situation, it broke his heart. So he took her in and raised her like his own daughter. That's when I finally let go of my worry. Ava wouldn't go hungry anymore. She had someone in her corner now. After elementary school, I moved back to the city with my parents. Ava went to Hong Kong with her uncle. We lost touch. I didn't see her again till tonight. And yet, despite the years, it was like no time had passed. We slipped right back into the same rhythm we'd had as kids. By the time we finished dinner, we were talking non-stop, laughing, catching up on everything we'd missed. She told me all about her life in Hong Kong. Her uncle had treated her like gold, sent her to the best schools, supported her dreams. She ended up studying computer science at an Ivy League university. In the US, you're downplaying it, I told her when she mentioned her school. That's not just doing well. That's genius level. She smiled modestly. So what are you doing now? I asked. I started a company. It's a small startup in the AI space, she said casually. She gave me a quick summary, then turned the question back to me. What about you? I let out a sigh. Complete mess, honestly. Just ended a relationship, texted her my breakup notice. As for work, I'm handing in my resignation tomorrow. It's not a failure, Ava, said her voice soft. You're still young, Leo. You've got time. You can start over with anything. I nodded. Yeah, I guess you're right. Then she asked, how's your grandma? The weight in my chest came rushing back at the mention of her. I went quiet. She's not going to make it, I said, voice thick. It's only a matter of days now. Ava reached across the table and gently placed her hand on mine. Don't be too sad, she said. Your grandma loves you more than anything. She wouldn't want to see you hurting. Then after a short pause, she added, can I visit her tomorrow? I nodded without hesitation. Then something wild sparked in my head. I looked at her, suddenly tense. Ava, are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? She blinked, surprised. No marriage, no boyfriend. Then, will you marry me? The words just tumbled out, raw, desperate. And the second they left my mouth, I froze. Did I really just say that? To my shock, she didn't hesitate. Okay, she said. I stared at her, thinking she didn't understand. I'm serious, I said. Will you marry me? Tomorrow? She smiled. I said, okay, no problem. I quickly explained everything, how this was just to bring peace to my grandma's heart, to fulfill her one last wish. I told her she didn't owe me anything just because we were childhood friends. It was a big ask. If she felt even the slightest discomfort, I'm not uncomfortable at all, she said firmly. I want to do this. Leo, if it weren't for your grandma and her food back then, I might not have made it through some days. Let me do this. This is a kindness I've carried in my heart for years. After a moment, I nodded slowly. Okay, whenever you want out. We get divorced. Just say the word. So, when do we get the license? She asked, smiling. There won't be a wedding, I said. Just the paperwork. Tomorrow, she nodded. After dinner, Ava drove me home. The whole way back, I couldn't stop thinking about the odds. In a city this big, what were the chances we'd run into each other again? It means we were meant to, she said with a quiet smile. I smiled back. Yeah, maybe our story started way back when we were 7. On the drive, my phone buzzed nonstop, ever since I sent Chloe that breakup text. She'd been calling me over and over again. I didn't answer. Ava glanced at the phone, then at me. I picked it up, blocked Chloe's number, and shut it off. The past is the past, I said. And things that belong there won't control my future. She nodded and started humming softly to herself. She seemed genuinely at peace. The next morning, just as I was getting out of bed, my phone rang. It was Ava. "Let's go," she said cheerfully. "Time to get married." I opened my front door, and there she was, already standing there, smiling. Like the sun, I laughed. "It's only 6:30. City Hall doesn't even open until 8. Breakfast first, then?" She winked. After breakfast, we arrived at City Hall by 7:50 a.m. We were the first couple in line. The process was quick, painless, by the time we stepped back outside with the marriage certificate in hand. It wasn't even 9 a .maia came with me straight to the hospital, Grandma, I said, sitting beside her bed. "Do you remember her?" Jed Ava Chen from the village. Grandma's cloudy eyes searched for a moment, then they lit up. "Oh, I remember Leo's little desk mate," she said softly. "You came over for dinner once. After you ate, you helped wash the dishes, even wiped down the windows." Ava smiled, a little embarrassed. "Your memory is amazing, Grandma. I remember you went to Hong Kong with your uncle," she said with a fond nod. "He drove back to the village in that car. People said it was worth over $100,000. Has he been treating you well?" someone asked. "Yes, uncles. Been really good to me," she answered gently. Grandma smiled warmly. "That's good. That's very good." I hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Grandma, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've kept hidden for a while. The girlfriend I've been seeing all these years. ... It was Ava. She's been living in Hong Kong and working non-stop, so she never had a chance to come visit. Please don't hold that against her." Grandma's face lit up. "Leo's girlfriend is you?" she asked, looking at Ava with genuine joy. "Oh, this is wonderful. Truly wonderful. You two were childhood sweethearts. You know each other so well. Now I can finally feel at peace." "And Grandma," I added, pulling out the certificate, "Ava and I registered our marriage today. We're officially married." Her hands trembled as she took the certificate, eyes lingering on it for a long time. She wiped a tear from her eye and said softly, "Married. My Leo is married. That's so good. So good." "Grandma, we were in a bit of a hurry, so we couldn't plan a big wedding," Ava said gently. "But we'll definitely have a proper celebration." Grandma took both of our hands in hers. "The license is more than enough," she said. "As for the wedding, plan it however you like. Just don't go overboard." Her voice was soft but steady as she gave us her blessing. "Now that you're married, you must start living like real adults. Take responsibility, support each other, build your home together. Talk through your problems. Don't fight. Just live an honest and peaceful life." She went on like that gentle advice, one piece after another. Ava and I nodded along quietly, listening. You could see it in her eyes. She was truly deeply happy. She even had a second bowl of soup at lunch. That afternoon, I went to Sterling Industries. "Mr. Morgan, I thought you were on vacation." "Brings you here?" my former assistant asked. "I'm here to submit my resignation." She stared at me, completely stunned. For someone at my level, a resignation required the CEO's personal signature. I walked to Chloe's office and knocked. "Come in," she said. When she saw me, she blinked, surprised at first. Then her usual smug expression returned. Well, look who came crawling back. I thought you had some pride." Before I could even speak, she waved it off. "I'll let it slide. Let's just call it a jealous meltdown, but don't ever pull something like that again, Miss Sterling," as she walked around her desk and stood in front of me, smug and towering. "Still pouting? Really? You even blocked me. How dramatic." She let out a low, mocking laugh. Just then, Ryan burst into the room. "Ah, heard Leo was here," he said, flashing a too friendly smile. "Leo, you're finally back. Everyone says you're the backbone of the design department, and honestly, they're right. It's been chaos without you. I've been so swamped I haven't even had time to sketch." Chloe chimed in. "Don't sell yourself short. You're new here, just back from overseas, and still adjusting to the domestic market. You need more time, that's all." Ryan shook his head and smiled. You're always so forgiving with me.
Course.
Chloe replied seriously. Only I see your true potential.
Yes.
Then she turned back to me. Anyway, Leo, perfect timing. The client wasn't happy with the design Ryan submitted. I need you to fix it and get it to them before the end of the day. Sorry to trouble you again, Ryan said softly. Everything okay at home now? Ready to come back? You've been away a while, Chloe frowned. You're lucky I'm your boss. No one else would have tolerated such a long break with no explanation. I looked at both of them, their performance flawless, like they'd rehearsed it. I said calmly, in the 5 years I've worked here, I haven't used a single vacation day. I've saved up 20 paid leave days. I've only used 6 of them. I still have 14 days left. Everything was approved. I didn't violate any company policy. And second, I'm not here to argue. I'm here to resign. Chloe's smirk vanished, replaced by pure annoyance. Leo, there's a limit to how childish you can be. This isn't a tantrum, I said. This is a decision. I'm resigning. For the record, the breakup was real, I said firmly. Ryan, in that soft, condescending tone of his, cut in. Leo, couples fight. They argue.
What?
But you can't just throw the word breakup around like it means nothing. It's hurtful. I didn't say it lightly, I replied. I meant every word. Chloe's brows knit tightly together. She was furious now. I'm giving you one last chance, she warned. Take it back. I don't need to, I said calmly. Fine, fine. She nodded, over and over, like she was trying to convince herself of something. Really think I can't live? Without you, huh? She snapped. But this company will fall apart if you leave. I've never thought that, I answered honestly. Good, then break up. Resign. Whatever. She spun around, snatched a pen from her desk, and in one angry swipe, signed my resignation form. You don't need to stay another month. Clear your desk today. We'll pay you everything severance, whatever's owed, down to the last cent. Gave a small nod. Even better. And with that, I turned and walked out. Just as I reached the door, I heard something heavy crash to the floor behind me, outside the Sterling Industries building. I stood still for a moment, staring up at the shining glass tower, and for the first time in a while, I smiled genuinely. My youth, the love I had chased endlessly, the job I had poured my heart into. All of it was behind me now. I had no regrets. In school, I had worked my way into the university and major I had dreamed of. That was enough. At work, even though I was leaving, the years I spent there had shaped me. I grew my skills, my confidence, my ability to deal with people in love. I had been brave enough to confess my feelings. I had gotten the chance to date the person I once only admired from afar. I tried really hard to be a good boyfriend. I cared about her, supported her. I gave everything I had emotionally, but sometimes effort isn't enough. The relationship failed, not because I didn't try, but because she wasn't right for me. So now, I was ready to move on. No bitterness, no what-ifs. I had done everything. I would carry myself with dignity, let go of the past, and step into the future with confidence. Would forgetting Chloe be easy? No. She'd lived in my heart for a long time. Erasing her would take time. But I had patience. We first met in middle school, right after I moved from a small town to the city. During English class, when I answered a question, my thick Midwest accent made the whole class burst out laughing. Even after class, a few students kept mocking how I spoke. Then suddenly, a book flew past the forehead of one of the boys, teasing me. Chloe, who sat behind me, was the one who threw it. You've had 6 more years of English than him, she snapped coldly, and you still sound like an idiot. Did that make you feel good about yourself? Her voice was like ice. And just like that, everyone shut up. She must have had some serious influence back then, because no one ever made fun of my accent again, at least not to my face. That one moment, when she stood up for me, changed everything. I started noticing the girl who sat behind me in class, quietly at first, but the more I noticed, the harder I fell. At that age, Chloe felt like she belonged to a different world. She was gorgeous, tall, elegant, and always at the top of our class. Teachers adored her. Rumors floated around that her family was loaded and that the sneakers she wore were rare, expensive collector's items. But what meant the most to me was that she'd defended me in front of everyone. She protected my dignity when no one else did. To a teenage boy like me, she was magnetic. Untouchable, but impossible to ignore. I knew I didn't stand a chance, so I buried my feelings deep. Coming from a small town, my grades were good, but nothing compared to city kids like her. Still, I pushed myself. I studied like my life. Depended on it just to get my name somewhere near hers on the rankings. Slowly it worked. My grades rose. I climbed the list until eventually I was just 10 spots behind her. In the high school entrance exams, I outdid myself, ranking 5th. In the entire school, Chloe, she ranked 1st. That was as close as I ever got. By pure luck, we ended up in the same high school, and even the same homeroom class. After midterms, when they changed the seating chart, I couldn't believe it, we were made deskmates. 1 morning during English period, I was reading aloud when she leaned over, smiled softly, and whispered, "Your accent is perfect now." I kept a straight face, but inside, my heart exploded. She remembered me. She remembered my voice. From that day on, we started talking here and there. I got to know her piece by piece. Every morning after second period, she'd go to the cafeteria to buy strawberry yogurt and take it upstairs to her brother in class. 1OB. His name was Ryan. He was a year older than her, but not her biological brother. He was her stepmother's son from a previous marriage. Alo never showed any resentment toward her stepmother. Her own mom had died when she was just 5. For years, her dad didn't remarry because he didn't want anyone mistreating her. But in her first year of middle school, he met Ryan's mom and eventually married her. Chloe, who had missed having a mother for so long, found real comfort in her stepmom. She treated her with kindness and she looked after Ryan like a real little sister would. Fiercely protective, genuinely loving. I pieced most of this together from little things she said in passing. And that's when I finally understood why she defended me that day back in middle school. Ryan had also transferred from a small town and had been mocked for his accent just like me. She once found him crying because of it. So when she saw the same thing happening to me, something in her snapped. She couldn't stay silent. She defended me. Because she saw her brother in me, it stung a little, knowing I was just a reflection of someone else she cared about. But that pain didn't last. I was already too far gone. Loving her had become second nature. I even found out which university she dreamed of going to, and I made it my goal too. By some miracle, I got in. In college, we didn't talk much. I still admired her from afar. But then came a party for students from our hometown. That night changed everything. She drank way too much and ended up crying, saying she could never be with the person she loved. The same name. That's how I found out. The one she loved was Ryan, her stepbrother. And he had just left for Europe to get away from it all. As I walked her back to her dorm that night, she sobbed the whole way. Her voice, thick with heartbreak, kept trembling. Why did he have to go? I wouldn't have bothered him. Could have just watched him from a distance. Every day hearing that broke something in me. But there was nothing I could do except walk beside her. The next day, she was waiting for me outside my building. She looked me in the eye and said, "Leo, do you want to try dating me?" In that moment, it felt like fireworks lit up the sky. I nodded so fast I probably looked ridiculous. Our relationship in college was simple, sweet, and filled with those little things that make you smile. She'd wait for me every morning with breakfast. We'd hold hands while walking through campus. If she didn't have class, she'd tag along to mine and play with my fingers under the desk. On Valentine's Day, she planned the most thoughtful surprises. That pricey phone I'd left sitting in my Amazon cart, she quietly bought it for me as a birthday gift. After graduation, she told me, "Come work at Sterling Industries. To see you every day at the office?" At the time, it felt sweet, romantic even. But years later, I learned the truth. Back then, Ryan had told her, "I have a girlfriend now, Chloe. You should move on and date someone too." And because I had taken her home drunk the night before, and because we were old classmates, she chose me. No deep reason. No real feelings, just convenience. When I found out, I was furious. For a long time, I couldn't even look at her. But Chloe apologized over and over, trying everything to win me back. And eventually, I gave in, got back together. And honestly, for a while, everything felt real. Our memories, the time we spent together, it all meant something to me. I believed she had truly fallen for me. I clung to that. If Ryan had never returned, maybe I'd still be living in that illusion, convinced Chloe had moved on from him. But the second he walked back into our lives, reality shattered. She hadn't let go of him. Not even a little. She brought him into the company, called him family, gave him a promotion. She even made up a new director position in the design department, just to put him on my level. Then, when a client rejected one of his proposals, she came to me for help, asked me to revise it, but it wasn't a revision. I rebuilt the entire project from scratch. And when it was finally done, the credit, the name on the submission, Ryan's. I saw the way she looked at him, no hiding it anymore. That love, that admiration, was never for me. Back in college, when we were at our happiest, she told me she didn't believe in marriage. Asked if I could live with that. I was young. I figured she might change her mind one day, but now I get it. That whole anti-marriage thing. It wasn't about principles. It was about leaving the door open for him, even if the odds were low. She wanted to be free in case Ryan ever wanted her back. Oh, staying unmarried. That was her gift, her offering to him. So I left Sterling Industries. I went to the hospital to be with Grandma. She seemed much livelier than before, smiling, talking nonstop, and she kept bringing up Ava, always calling her our Ava. That said everything. Ava had won her heart completely. That evening, Ava came by after work. The moment Grandma saw her, she lit up. Ava sat by her side, chatting gently, sharing small-town stories from her childhood that made Grandma laugh and reminisce. She also told Grandma she'd bought a house and a car here, spoke about how spacious the place was and how smooth the car ran, like she was proving she could give me a stable future. But Grandma wasn't impressed by material things. She looked at Ava and said, "You've done so much at such a young age. Don't push yourself too hard. Leo's a good boy. He has his own place already. The two of you have enough. Just take care of your health." And then she added with a gentle smile, "I've saved up a little money." I gave the passbook to Leo. "It's for you too." Ava laughed, gave her a thumbs up. "Grandma, you saved money?" When my dad came to visit, Grandma shooed us away, telling us to go have dinner. While we were eating, I told Ava I'd quit my job. She looked at me curiously. "So what now?" I thought for a second. "I think I'll just be a freelance illustrator. From home? I'm not interested in another corporate job." I pulled out my phone and showed her my social media pages. She stared. "You have this many followers?" "Yeah," I smiled. "I've been posting my drawings since college. I guess people like them." She nodded. "With a following like this, you can absolutely make it as a freelancer." She looked at me and asked, "By the way, what did you tell your parents about us getting married?" I replied, "The same thing I told my grandma." They knew I'd been in a relationship for a few years. They'd never met my girlfriend, so I just told them it was you all along. "Says you were based in Hong Kong." I said, "We never found the right time for you to meet them." Surprised, I continued, "And no, they didn't criticize you for going off and getting a marriage license with their son. Why would they? They know I did it to give Grandma peace of mind. In fact, they couldn't stop talking about how amazing you are that you'd sacrifice so much just to help fulfill her last wish." As I was speaking, my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up. It was Chloe, her voice sharp and demanding. "Where'd you buy that stomach medicine you used to get for me?" I immediately hung up and just sent her assistant the address of the pharmacy. The phone rang again. Another unknown number. I sighed, already tired of the day, and was about to turn my phone off. "Wait," Ava said with a small smile. "I have an idea, a way to make her stop bothering you." "Oh, what is it?" "Go public," she said calmly. 2 minutes later, I posted a single photo on Instagram, a shot of our marriage certificate. The caption, "Married." Within seconds, the comment section blew up with question marks. Later that night, I got home to find a tall figure waiting outside my apartment. Chloe. She was leaning against the wall, arms folded. "What's with the picture?" she asked, face unreadable. "It's pretty clear, isn't it?" I said. "I got married." "There's a limit to jokes," she snapped, a flicker of irritation on her face. I tried to stay calm. "The doctor said my grandma only had a few days left. I didn't want her to go with regrets, so I got married so suddenly." Chloe lowered her gaze, her expression hidden in the shadows. After a pause, her voice came out soft, shaky. "So the marriage is fake? The certificate sits fake, right?" I shook my head. "No, it's real. We went to City Hall this morning and got the license." Chloe stepped forward, grabbing my arm. Her voice turned rough. "Leo, you just married someone random. Don't you get it? You can't just trust people like that. What if she clings to you, tries to blackmail you, or take your money?" Ava's face flashed through my mind, gentle, warm, kind. I smiled slightly. "She's not a random person," I said firmly. "She's someone I've known since childhood. She's a good person." Chloe scoffed. "Fine. You've really outdone yourself." Then she turned and walked away without. Looking back a few days later, Grandma passed away. The doctor told us she'd been peaceful in her final days, smiling and serene. He said we shouldn't be too sad. Hervé was incredible during that time, organizing everything, helping my parents, staying by our side more than once. My mom pulled me aside and whispered, "Ava is a gem. She must be so tired. You picked the right one, Leo." To my surprise, Chloe showed up at the funeral. "Who's that?" my parents asked. "My old boss," I answered awkwardly. "Well, that's kind of her," Mom said. "You don't even work there anymore," and she still came. After offering her condolences, Chloe approached me quietly. "Can we talk?" "I'm busy," I said without looking at her. "I don't have time. I'll wait."
Hours later.
After the last guest had left, I stepped outside into the night. Chloe was still standing there by the curb. I walked over. "What is it?" The breeze tousled the hair around her face. She looked oddly delicate, sadness in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know you were telling the truth about your grandma. I thought you made it up to pressure me into marriage." I let out a short, dry laugh. "It doesn't matter now. It's in the past. Leo, these past few weeks without you." Her voice cracked with quiet sorrow. "I haven't been myself. Work, life, everything feels empty. I can't focus. I keep thinking, and I realized she looked up at me. I can't live without you. Now I know what this feeling really is. I know I was slow to realize it, too proud. Maybe. But the truth is, I loved you all along," she said, voice trembling as she reached into her coat pocket. From it, she pulled out a small velvet box. She flipped it open, revealing a diamond ring that sparkled under the streetlight. "Leo," she whispered, her eyes pleading. "Marry me." I stared at her, stunned. The whole thing felt surreal. "Chloe, I'm already married." Then divorce. Her. Come back to me. I couldn't help the bitter laugh that slipped out. "You were the one who didn't even believe in marriage." "I didn't," she admitted. "But for you, I'll change everything, my beliefs, my principles. If you want to get married, we'll get married. I'll give you the biggest, most beautiful wedding. I'll tell the whole world you're mine." I shook my head, the heaviness in my chest returning. There's no point. "I don't want to marry you anymore. And today is my grandmother's funeral. This really isn't the time." But Chloe wasn't done. She grabbed my sleeve, desperation flashing in her eyes. "I can give you a better life than she ever could. That woman, your so-called childhood friend, what does she have to offer?" A calm, steady voice came from behind me. "How my husband and I live our lives is none of your concern, Miss Sterling." I turned and saw Ava walking up, composed and clear-eyed, standing firmly at my side. "Who are you?" Chloe snapped, her voice edged with anger. "The person who signed that marriage certificate with Leo," Ava replied without hesitation. "I'm his legal wife, the one who'll stay by his side for the rest of his life." Chloe scoffed, a vein pulsing in her forehead. What kind of life could you possibly give him? Ava smiled faintly. We may not have the deep pockets of Sterling Industries, but FlightPath AI is a pretty recognized name in the tech world. Unless Leo suddenly asks me for the moon and stars, I think I can keep him pretty happy. Chloe blinked, confusion creeping in. FlightPath AI. Wait, Eva Chin, the CEO of FlightPath AI? The one and only, Ava confirmed, then added, gently but firmly, so please, stay away from my husband. He doesn't want to see you. Chloe turned her gaze back to me, eyes full of disbelief. I didn't flinch. I leaned my head against Ava's shoulder and said simply, what my wife said. Chloe let out a hollow laugh, one filled with heartbreak, then turned and walked away completely lost. Once she disappeared down the street, Ava looked up at me, her tone suddenly playful. So, how did I do? I didn't answer right away. Just stared at her quietly. She shifted uncomfortably. Say something. You're making me nervous. I finally spoke, my voice soft. Explain FlightPath AI. It wasn't just a question. That name, it struck a chord. I'd heard of FlightPath AI. It was one of the biggest rising stars in artificial intelligence. A real force in the domestic tech market. This wasn't just some side project. This was the company. And now it hit. Meath. This was the same company. Ava had briefly mentioned before. She looked down at her feet, guilt flashing across her face. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Well, you never asked what it was called, so I never told you. I kept my tone calm but firm. The name. Came from us, didn't it? She hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, it did. I thought back, the memories flooding in. I remember now. FlightPath started out as a tiny little studio years ago. We hadn't even seen each other in so long. Ava lifted her head. Her face was torn between defiance and vulnerability. It's true, she said, voice shaking. I've loved you all this time, since the day I left for Hong Kong. You've never left my mind. You were always there. She took a small step toward me, and I gently tilted her chin up with my fingers. What else are you hiding from me? I asked. Her cheeks flushed with a deep red, and slowly she began to tell me everything. How she'd never forgotten me. How over the years her feelings hadn't faded, they'd only grown stronger. What started as a childhood crush had turned into something real and enduring. She carried it with her like breath, before she left for college in the US. She'd begged her uncle to let her visit our hometown one last time. She made the trip, but by then my grandmother had already moved. No one knew our new address. She only had 3 days and left empty-handed. During grad school in America, she launched a small workshop and named it FlightPath. It was a tribute to me, to us, to the old nickname we used to joke about DashJet between classes and building. The company from scratch, her life became a whirlwind. But through all the chaos, I was still the one she held on to. But when she was finally free to come back, she found out where I lived. Dan showed up, only to see me with someone else. She watched the way I looked at Chloe, with real love in my eyes. Heartbroken, she returned to the US, swearing she'd move on. But she couldn't. The more she tried to forget me, the deeper her feelings grew. When the time felt right, she relocated FlightPath's headquarters here right in my city. Not to interfere, just to be close. Whenever she had a free moment, she'd drive and park across the street from my office building. She'd sit there, watching me walk out with Chloe. If I looked happy, she'd quietly drive away. But then, something changed. She started noticing I wasn't happy anymore. I was always leaving alone. Chloe wasn't beside me. Instead, Chloe was with someone else, laughing, smiling, looking at another man like he was her whole world. And then that night, I was standing outside, drenched in rain, broken-hearted and crying. She ran to me. She held an umbrella over my head. After she told me everything, I couldn't even speak. I just stood there, stunned and silent. Then, I broke down. I covered my face and cried. I cried for all the things I didn't know, for everything she had carried in silence. That someone could love me that deeply, that quietly it overwhelmed me. When I told her I didn't think I deserved that kind of love. Ava gently brushed the tears off my face with her thumb. "You are worthy," she whispered. "My Leo is worthy of the best love in the world." After that, Chloe started reaching out again and again. I blocked her everywhere. Every number, every platform, but she didn't stop. She began writing emails. One day, by accident, I opened my inbox. And there they were. Dozens. It felt surreal, like she was using my inbox as a personal diary. She poured her heart out. Said she finally understood everything. That what she had with Ryan was never love, it was dependency. A hollow kind of need, born from being starved of affection for so long. Her kind stepmother was the first woman who ever truly cared about her. Asked her if she was warm, if she was okay. And with that warmth came Ryan, her stepbrother. She clung to him, confused comfort for love. But after I left, she couldn't sleep. Her chest ached all the time. She was angry, empty. Only then did she realize how much I'd meant to her. One message read, "When I saw your marriage certificate, it took everything in me not to drive over, drag you away, and lock you up somewhere." Another one said, "The day I rejected your proposal, that was the biggest mistake of my life. One wrong step, and I lost everything." She told me her father and stepmother had divorced. Legally, she and Ryan weren't family anymore. Ryan was thrilled, thought they could finally be together. But Chloe, she felt nothing but resistance. "I don't want to be with Ryan," she wrote. And then came the final message. "Leo, this is the last email I'll send. I won't bother you again. I've agreed to a strategic marriage for my father's company. I have a meeting with the son of the Miller Group tomorrow. Let me think of you one last time. Goodbye, and I'm sorry." I read it. Then calmly dragged all the emails to the trash later. I heard something had happened to Chloe. She had started dating the Miller heir. They were planning an engagement. But one night after dinner, Ryan showed up jealous, furious. He tried to shove Mr. Miller down a flight of stairs. Chloe threw herself in front of him, and she was the one who fell. Her injuries were serious. Without perfect care, she might be permanently disabled. But Mr. Miller was deeply moved. He announced he'd still marry her no matter what. Ryan was arrested and sent to prison. Sometime later, I saw a video online, probably filmed by someone. At the scene? In it, Ryan's face was twisted with rage as he screamed, "You love me. I know you do. Why won't you be with me? Why are you marrying someone else? You flew across the world every year for my birthday. You told me you didn't. Want another man in your life? You love me, you did everything for me. Are you throwing me away now?" Then he lunged at Mr. Miller. Chloe screamed. She fell. I closed the video. My stomach was in knots. Can love really make people lose their minds? I whispered. Ava came up behind me, gently wrapping her arms around my shoulders. "Ken," she said softly. "Good thing you're with me. Otherwise, I might have gone insane waiting for you." I turned to her, frowning. "Are you really that intense?" "Don't worry," she smiled. "If I ever lost control, I wouldn't hurt anyone else. I'd only hurt myself." "Don't say that," I said, cupping her face in my hands. "You're not allowed to hurt yourself," I whispered, "because losing her would break me."